You guys, what's up? It is JMMA here, and today we're going to have the somber discussion about EA Sports UFC 5. The pre-release excitement surrounding the latest installment in the popular mixed martial arts video game franchise has been replaced with disappointment and skepticism. In this video, we will explore the sudden downfall of UFC 5. Chapter 1, Pre-Fight Hype. Fans of the series were excited when on July 22nd of this year, EA released the official announcement that the game's reveal trailer would drop in September. Then, at an Xbox gaming event many days later, a small 11-second teaser of the reveal was shown, really not giving fans much, but it did do one thing: it created anticipation. September came around and the reveal was finally here, and to say the least, the hype was there. Multiple content creators, streamers, and fans were excited for what was to come. The reveal did receive minor backlash though, because there was no actual gameplay shown. Rather than showing actual gameplay, EA opted to show off the Frostbite engine using CGI movement.
It is CGI using, of course, the game engine, and I'm just gonna zip it up. Because I'm not sure if I can say just yet, but I'm gonna just say, don't let the fact that this is CGI get you a little bit too worried. You hear me? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Fast forward to the gameplay trailer, the deep dive breakdown, the presentation trailer, and even the career mode deep dive. All 4 of these videos were well edited and thorough, I must admit that, but the release of each one of these videos soon made consumers realize that UFC 5 may have not been the game that it was made out to be. Transition-based submissions, or TBS for short, not to confuse it with actual TBS, now we don't need that confusion, new damage indicators, and ground elbows were all main gameplay features that were marketed and pushed by EA as groundbreaking mechanics. But were those mechanics really that groundbreaking? Chapter 2, the truth is revealed. Now, after the trailers were shown, it was a lot of dead time in between, so now it was time for the consumers, us, to play the waiting game for about a week and a half. During this time, most companies tend to ramp up promotion through multiple commercials, ads, even partnerships with famous content creators. EA did the bare minimum. They only ran commercials and ads during UFC events, which is a very niche audience. You would think they would want to reach a broader audience for sales, showing it on multiple sporting events like the NFL, the NBA, NHL, even the MLB, but no, they didn't do that. The only promotion we saw was EA sponsored videos featuring Cash Nasty and OTK member Esfon. The promotion for the game pales in comparison to games like Spider-Man 2 and Hogwarts Legacy, simply because months before, even years before, they're doing constant little teasers and promotion to build up anticipation. Sadly, EA doesn't do that. They always do it a month before, or even sometimes weeks before, and it's kind of confusing. But okay, I digress. The game was released early for those who pre-ordered the deluxe edition, and this is where the problems began.
UFC 5 is as real as it gets, and that's some bullshit. On the left, I have Nate Diaz. On the right, I have Muhammad Ali. I've watched a lot of Nate Diaz fights, and I've watched a lot of Muhammad Ali fights, and the eye test will tell me they do not fight the same, they do not move the same, they don't do anything the fucking same. Look at this shit. Anything looks familiar to you? We have Muhammad Ali and Nate Diaz side by side in a video game that promises to be as real as it gets, doing the exact same animation.
Broken gameplay mechanics were, or should I say still, are the biggest gripe with UFC 5. Horrible stamp tags on which body punches and counters, block breaking is worse than it has ever been before in the EA UFC franchise, and serious inconsistencies and exploits within the grappling system, as great as the transition-based submission system is. Even with all of this, critic reviews were surprisingly astonishing, to say the least. IGN gave the game a 9 out of 10. To put that in perspective, IGN thinks UFC 5 is better than Spider-Man 2, which was just announced as a contender for Game of the Year. You would think with this, everyone would be in agreement that the game was mismarketed and it simply was not a good product. Unfortunately, a group of people seemed that sentiment was far from the truth. And now that leads us into Chapter 3, dismissing the reality. Like I just mentioned, there's a specific group of people who seem to continuously make excuses for EA, even though the community itself has come together on the fact that the game needs a lot of fixing and it is not a true representation of what an MMA game is. These people are game changers and company. And I say in company because there seems to be some more people who don't work or have a partnership with EA, yet they align themselves with the narratives / agendas being pushed by some of the game changers. The game changers seem to think that this is the best game in the series. The new submission system and input responsiveness seem to be the two main reasons why they think this, in my opinion. Anytime there's some type of backlash or critique or quote unquote complaining given to UFC 5, here it comes shielding big bad EA from scrutiny they deserve for putting out a bad product. I confronted one of the newest members of the Game Changer program, Zayef, on Twitter about this, and he denies doing this even though I have legit evidence.
Hang on to your seat, baby, cause this one's a screamer!
Here he is in the official EA UFC 5 Discord. Someone mentions that block breaking is a huge problem and it gives them a little bit of trouble, and how they think the only real counter to it is to potentially wrestle. Zayef then responds with, "You have options. If people are complaining about pressure but not using their entire toolkit, I find it hard to believe that complaint. No matter if we do give solutions, and for some reason they keep saying and crying we don't, they shoot it down by switching the narrative, acting like we don't care or we don't know what we're talking about." Here's another game changer, Romero17, saying that if you have a problem with the IG rating of a 9 out of 10 while playing the game, then you, sir, are a hypocrite. Yeah, you a hypocrite. That's what he said. Yes, he said that. That statement makes absolutely no sense. How does disagreeing with the fact that the game isn't a 9 out of 10 makes you a hypocrite because you still play it? You can still play the game, have fun, enjoy it, and still not think it's an out of 10. It's like you can eat at a restaurant and disagree with the 4 Michelin star rating. And yup, you guessed it. Following suit, another game changer tells me to shut the fuck up when I stated this exact statement on Twitter. This is the problem. Game changers overvalue their role in the community when the reality is fairly simple. The Game Changer program is simply a title. They have little to no real input, and to make them feel differently, EA allows them to give quote unquote feedback through playing various early builds of the EA UFC game. And then they give them a free copy of the final product so they can play it early and make content. And here's a tweet from Marshall Minds saying that he needs the whole community to come together so EA can fix grappling and they can really make the grappling system that it really needs to be. If the Game Changers truly have the voice they proclaim they have, why should EA listen to us directly? The Game Changers are our direct line to EA. That is the whole purpose of the Game Changer program. If EA doesn't listen to them, they're not listening to us. But again, excuses are continued to be made, which is a little disappointing. The same sympathy they want us to give EA and its devs, they couldn't do for Steel City Interactive, the developers of Undisputed. Zayef made a Dead on Arrival video before the early access was even released, and they were campaigning it, championing it on, like it was something cool or something brass. All we want is for our voices to be heard. We give valid criticism and you shoot it down every time, and we're met with the opinion that the community is unknowledgeable and they're being unreasonable. This sense of ego and high superiority has to stop. If it doesn't, we will never get EA to make another good UFC game. The bottom line for me is pretty simple. UFC 5 is headed into the direction of being a dead game, and we're only 18 days removed from the release. If you go look on Kick and Twitch, the game has a whopping 325 combined viewers. Yes, 325, and on a good day it may get over 3,000, only because a really popular streamer is playing career mode or someone's doing an EA sponsored stream. Also, the game itself is already on sale for $59.99. In some places it's even $49.99. The disconnect and lack of transparency between the community and EA has to end now. The franchise will never reach its potential if full potential if EA doesn't properly make the correct changes. Yes, I do think this franchise has potential. If I didn't think it had potential, or if I didn't have a passion for MMA and UFC games in general, I wouldn't be making this video. We all want the game to be great, but if a certain group of people continue to shield and make excuses for EA, we may never see a great UFC game again.